Hey, Scout, do you like making constructions using your geometer tools?
I sure do. I could just lie here and think about it for hours.
Hey, Lenny, do you think constructions in geometry are easy?
No, actually, I think they're kind of rough.
Hey, Lenny, do you think... I want to talk about geometry constructions. And the first thing to do is discuss the 3 geometer tools that you're going to be using. The first is a simple straight edge. You'll notice that there's no lines of rule because we're not going to measure distance with lines of rule. We're going to recreate distance with the compass. So what we're going to do also, we're going to use the protractor. The protractor does measure angles. You can either measure from the right side, in which case you'll use the inside numbers going from 0 degrees up to 180 degrees, or if you're measuring from the left side, you'll use the outside numbers, which also go from 0 to 180 degrees. The third tool that we're going to use is the compass. Now, just for vocabulary, we've got the compass point, sometimes called the pivot point. We've got the pencil point. We can adjust the gap of the compass, and there's various styles of compass, but for this type, you twist the knob one way to widen the compass gap, you twist it the other way to decrease the compass gap. You also have the turning knob, which allows you to make arcs or complete circles. So the first construction that I would like to do is constructing congruent lines. And let's assume you have a line segment. And we'll call that line segment AB. And if we want to construct a congruent line segment, what we're going to do is we're going to draw a ray. Let's go through it. I'm going to draw a ray that is visibly longer than the line segment AB. And we'll call the endpoint C. And let's make sure you label the points. What we're going to do is we're going to open the compass gap so that it's the same distance from A to B. And then we're simply going to put the compass edge on point C, and we're going to draw an arc that intersects the ray that we created in blue. Where the arc that you drew intersects with the ray, let's call that point D. And now we can say that line segment AB is congruent to line segment CD. The next construction that I'd like to do is constructing congruent angles. If you have an angle made up of 2 rays and a vertex where those 2 rays, or they share a vertex, they share an endpoint, sorry, creating a vertex. And we can call that vertex A. And we want to construct the next type of construction that I'd like to do is constructing a congruent angle. So if we have angle A, and A is at the vertex of the angle created by 2 rays that share the same endpoint, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a ray. We'll call that endpoint Q. And then I'm going to take our compass, and I'm going to open the compass gap so that it's shorter than Q, but it gives us a little space to work with. I'm going to take the end point, and I'm going to put it on A, and I'm going to draw an arc that passes through both rays of angle A. And then I'm going to do the same thing from point Q. Obviously I can only go through one ray. And I'm going to make the arc long enough so that I can draw a ray that will pass through that arc as well, keeping in mind the angle at angle A. I'm then going to adjust the compass gap so that it's the same distance from, I should label these points, B and C. And once I have that compass gap, I'm then going to put the compass point, let's label that point D. I'll put the compass point on point D, and I'm then going to draw an arc that intersects the other arc. Now where those two arcs intersect, I'm going to draw a ray with my straight edge that goes through that point from point Q. Let's call that point E. And you can say that angle BAC is congruent to angle BQD. The next construction that I want to do is a perpendicular bisector. And if we have a line segment, AB, and we want to construct a perpendicular bisector, which bisector means it cuts the line segment AB into two equal smaller parts, congruent smaller parts, sorry, and it also is perpendicular to that line segment. What we're going to do first is we're going to take our compass and we're going to open up the gap so that it's visibly more than halfway between A and B. And what we're going to do then is we're going to create two arcs that intersect both above and below the line segment. So we're going to put the compass point on A, and we're going to create an arc. So we're going to put the compass point on B, and we're going to create an arc, keeping the same compass gap. And we're going to get 2 points of intersection between those two arcs. And I'll label those X and Y. I could label them out, but let's label them X and Y. I'm then going to take the straight edge. I'm going to create a line that goes through both points, X and Y, that we just created. And that line, XY, is the perpendicular bisector AB. If we want to label this point as Z, we could say that line segment AZ is congruent to line segment BZ. And that's a right angle. Line segment AB is perpendicular to line XY. Moving on to the last construction that we're going to do. Just like you can bisect a line segment, you can also bisect an angle. And if we have an angle, and these two rays, when they meet at the vertex of the angle, and we'll just call that angle A. What we're going to do is we're going to take our compass. I'm going to close this compass gap a little bit. So right about there. And we're going to take the compass point and put it on the vertex. We're going to create an arc that goes through both rays. And we'll label the intersection, red this time, we'll label the intersection of the arc in one of the rays, that point B, and the intersection of the arc that we drew in the other ray, we'll call that point C.
Now from points B and C, we're going to keep the same compass gouge. And we're going to create two more arcs that will intersect.
I'm going to start with the compass point on point B. We'll create an arc. And we'll start with the compass point on point C, and we'll create another arc, the intersection of those two arcs. We'll call that point D. I'm going to do this time.
We're now going to use our straight edge, and as you can probably guess, we're going to go from point A
through point D and create another ray, and that ray would be the angle bisector that bisects angle BAC into two smaller congruent angles.
I'll show that
With a congruent sign, angle BAD is congruent to angle CAD.
And that's that. I know this stuff is a lot of fun. What I suggest is you and your family take this Saturday night, make some popcorn, take out your protractors and your compasses, and there's your family night of fun. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.